Hello YouTube, Luigi here. It's 10 p.m. on the night before Thanksgiving in 2014. Here in New Hampshire we're getting clobbered with a million feet of snow. Power flickered once. The internet connection seems stable and the satellite dish TV thing is a total loss. You know, it was about a year ago where I did a video titled My Favorite Favorite EDC Knives of 2013. So I thought I'd do the same thing again for 2014, except this time the choices overwhelmed me. It seems I had a wife that once said boughten. I had bought 28 knives so far, and the year's not over. It seems like a lot. And of those 28, I whittled that list down to 14. And I realized I couldn't present 14 knives today, so I whittled that list down to 2, 4, 6, 8, to 9. And we're going to go through 9 of my favorite knives that I've purchased in 2014 very quickly, very quickly. And we'll start with this. This is the Navy K507. Inexpensive Chinese knife. It's been called a Sebenza look-alike. It's not a clone. The Senrinmu 910 and the Senrinmu 710 are clones of the large and small Sebenzas. Respectfully, I'm going to turn that Facebook thing off so we don't get that sound. I love this knife. It's a long clip. I wouldn't call it a drop. That's a straight line. To me, that's a clip. Opens well, as you saw, liner lock, stainless steel. Probably HCR 13 MOV. It's probably the most well-built knife in terms of no blade wobble, good lockup, and everything else. Here's another Chinese knife, number 2. It's the Ganzhou G704 with axis lock. Now, this is a drop with a swedge. Thick blade, dual thumb studs, aggressive jimping, sort of a forward index finger choil, lanyard hole, textured G10. And what makes this knife, why it's here, is because I like the way it feels. This is pretty aggressive texturing for G10, but what locks it into your hand is really the sharpness of the jimping on top and the breadth, how broad this knife is in the hand. I like it. Ganzhou G704. Okay, this is a Boker Excalibur. It's got this unusual way of opening. See the knurling here, which becomes, you know, thumb knurling on the top? When it's closed, you put your thumb on that knurling and swing it around. I like this knife because it's very well designed. It's got a gentlemanly appearance about it. Smooth G10, which to me always looked like linen micarta. A high flat ground. It's not a full flat ground, but it's a flat ground nonetheless. And it's an absolute favorite of mine for the smoothness of operation. I want to talk about smoothness. I have a CRKT Swindle. It's got IKBS bearings, but it's got a flipper. Boom! It flips right out. Because it flips right out, you don't feel how smooth it is. I'm sure it's quite smooth with all that. But because your hand stays with this blade the entire length of travel, you literally feel the smoothness of this operation. This is one of the smoothest knives I've owned. So you can have a flipper or a spring assist with bearings and never, ever, ever have a sense of how well that's gliding because your hand isn't on it for the entire length of its travel. Okay, CRKT Hisatsu. Wow! 3 7/8 inch blade, designed by Jane Williams. The most aggressively tactical knife I own. It's got this auto lock system. You have to pull this back here where my finger is, and then do the liner lock, and it falls. I'm going to do that again. Pull this back, do the liner lock, it falls, but it hits the torsion bar and it won't cut your thumb off. Then you can close it with one hand. People complain about this auto locks. It needs to be two hands, but it doesn't. Here's a knife I like. I don't love it. I like it. I wish it were bigger. I would love it. I love the colors. This is the CRKT endorser. I love the colors. I love the finger grooves. It's got that outburst technology or whatever it's called. It's got this great looking blade. It's probably HCR13 MOV. I wish it were just a little bit larger in my hand. No jimping. Well, the jimping's down here. It's not up here on the spine of the blade. I like the feel of this knife. It would feel better if it were larger. Now, I had to pay homage to an old time. It's not a friction folder. This one has a lock back, but it's a large sod buster. It's the Boker Plus Range Buster, and you'll notice it has a match strike nail nick, large handed hold, the sort of olive green Delrin, which is really smooth. This is a very smooth operating knife. And it feels good in the hand. It's a traditional sod buster pattern, but Boker had to call theirs the Range Buster because Case trademarked the sod buster name. Other companies calls theirs the Turf Busters, the Dirt Busters, and the back lock on this is really well. So I had to pay homage to a non-modern knife. This is a very interesting blade. It's unbranded. It has no name like the Cryo or something. It comes from an eBay store called Han Garden, which is based in, yes, China. And I describe this as a modernized Higo no Kami, because the Higo no Kamis have this extended tang. Except the Higo no Kamis, the tang is flattened this way. Put your thumb, I'll do that again. You put your thumb on this extended tang and swing it around. It's got a lock back. That's what makes it, when I say modernized. It's got a lock back. The other ones with the flattened, the traditionals with the flattened tang, it's the pressure of your thumb on that flattened tang that is the lock. This is D2 steel. It is one of the sharpest knives in the box. And I really like the look. That it's a traditional Higo no Kami look, but the Higo no Kamis have one piece of brass bent into a U shape, open where the blade slips in, obviously, and they're very thin, riveted together, very simple, but beautiful knives, you know, with forged out of two types of blade steel. This is here because it's the only automatic I have. It's the Boker Plus Automat Kalashnikov 74. It's got aluminum scales with grippy textures. Took me a while to figure out that this is a two-handed closer. You know, the torsion on this torsion bar, you depress the button and close it with the other hand. It's got this really goofy, apparently goofy, pocket clip, but I have to tell you, it's not an issue in terms of grip. Actually, it seems to, you know, fit right in there. So it may look weird, but it's okay. Last one. I bought this just for its looks. I was attracted to the design of this knife. This is another Chinese knife made in China for Meyer Co. of Texas. This is the Dirk Peterson? Oh, I'm going to screw that up. Warning, W-H-A-R-N-I-N-G. I think that's meant to pay homage to a Wharncliffe blade. It looks like a Wharncliffe, but it's got this exaggerated reverse tanto, or Japanese tanto. If the angle of this tanto were less severe, it would look more like a tanto. If this were a long radius sweep down to the point, it would definitely look like a Wharncliffe, except it's so broad, but it's got a very aggressive jimping along the entire length of the top. It is a high hollow ground, very, very slight hollow ground. And I just love the look of this little guy, rounded at both ends with that incredible piercing point. Not a big knife, not a big knife. But again, because it's broad, it fills the hand. A lot of spring assisted, by the way. Okay, the Myrico Dirk Peterson warning. I think it's Peterson. Okay, that's it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of my favorite EDCs for 2014. I did this a year ago, but I only had 4 to show you. This is probably one of my favorites. Not a glamorous knife, but it's a great utilitarian, utility beater, everyday, put it to work EDC. All right, everybody, God bless you. Have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow, really. New England will just dig out of this mess. We always do. Take good care. Bye-bye.